Oh, Hare Krishna, welcome for this morning's Bhagavatam class. Thank you to our leader for giving us this service for purifying ourselves. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Today we are continuing with the same chapter from the Canto 1, 5th chapter, which is Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam. Verse 36. Is it? Yeah. Someone, if you can be a chorus. Urvana yatra karmani. Urvana yatra karmani. Bhagavat shiksha. Bhagavat shikshaya Bhagavat shikshayas akrit. Grananti gunamnamani Krishnanu anusmaranti cha Purvana yatra karmani Bhagavat chikishchas sakrit Grananti gunanamani Krishnani anusmaranti cha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: while performing duties according to the order of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one constantly remembers Him, His names, and His qualities. The purport is a very large one. Shall try and, as and when important points are there, we will definitely go back to those verses. Before I even start discussing, sharing, let me seek the prayers of all the previous acharyas. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajeev Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचा कल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Vishnu. Welcome again. Kurvana yatra karmani Bhagavat chikitya sakrit prananti guna namani Krishnasya anusmaran. Again, we've been, let me just share a short. Is this visible?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay. So let's just go into a little bit of a background. As I said, we had a short break. We were diving into all the pastimes of Guru, glorifying Guru. And then thanks to Varaha he again took us a dive back into Sri Rama pastimes. But just to give a background, what is happening? Narada Muni was a spirit there telling him the power of Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. This was what he was doing. How, after explaining to him, he was giving case studies, right? Why? For better impact. Why do we normally tell a case study for anywhere? So that you understand what happened. So he was telling his own personal story. How Krishna consciousness worked. What was the background, humble background? What was the mother doing? A maid servant assisting all the sages. Then he was doing the same, gained their blessings. You all remember that he also got Mahaprashadam and their blessings. And because of all this, he heard more Krishna Katha. And what he got from them, a lot more mercy. And the prayers blessings played a very important role on him. What did they do? The impartial Bhakti Vedantis taught him much deeper science of Bhakti Yoga, right? While leaving, they gave him the most confidential knowledge. Hope there is no message for. Okay. So now quickly going in, before we get to this verse, what happened? If you recollect in 31, Ena Gachanti Tat Padam. So he learned, what did they give him? How to go back, the most confidential knowledge, right? Ena Gachanti Tat Padam. He knew, but then he revealed a little more. He got something more, not just going back home. Right? We all learned from a couple of verses the very key factors. Mathurapati Prabhu and seniors who had taken key points, not to hear from unauthorized people. Then we learned how important is getting the association, all those points. And then we understood that we cannot stay without action, right? We know that action causes suffering. That doesn't mean that we stop action. We cannot do that. Prabhupada gives a reference. I think Shastra itself has got that saying a lion can't just sit with its mouth open. No animal is going to come and fall a prey, right? So he has to do the action. The point is how we convert this action, how we dovetail it towards Supreme Conscious, towards the Supreme Lord, right? So solution is there. It is to transform. And when the glories of the Supreme Lord, what happens? we feel very meek. We feel I'm just a tiny soul. I mean, utterly insignificant. 84 lakh species in that such a small out of all the planetary systems where it's tiny speck. So that way our consciousness starts to change, right? Or we at least make an attempt towards dovetailing our consciousness towards the Supreme Lord. We had many examples, 4 examples we were discussing. Now, how can I serve the Supreme Lord? How can we make our activity, convert it into spiritual activity? That way, destroying all our karmas, right? We are always thinking about Krishna. You recollect, right? When you do that, it is not that we don't know how to do it. Like Krishna has been very kind in the 10th chapter. He clearly tells us, he gives us a help. Tesam satata yukthanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam cha that means he says, to those who constantly devoted on me in serving, I give them the understanding how they can come. Right? So the point is how to remember Krishna. Right? We have heard many times from our own leader. Many of those examples is given as to how to remember Krishna constantly. I recollect in a Bhagavatam class in Lakshmi Narsingh, our temple, he was giving, even in a public road when we are going, we can if you see a car or a bus in name AP, immediately we can think about, oh, Andhra Pradesh, and then Tirumala, Tirupati is there. That same way, Gujarat vehicle, we can think of Dwarkadish. These kind of how we can quickly remember Krishna, maybe for the few seconds also. So let's just see, because Prabhupada in this particular verse, right from last verse, is more talking about how we can, how in the ordinary dealings also, how we can remember Krishna. Okay, let's see a few verses. First and foremost, as you read the purport, as you read this it it is something very similar situation, right? Where Krishna had to speak to Arjuna. There, Arjuna was disillusioned. Then Krishna had to speak. You all know that entire Bhagavad-gītā. Here, we are drawing a parallels because here Narada Muni is instructing, right? We can't say that Vyasadeva was disillusioned. He was more helping Vyasadeva, right? It was, as you see this verse, as we keep reading, it typically is on the lines of the most famous verse after Pattam Pushpam, which is, I like this verse a lot. Yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat juhosi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurvasya matarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Now, this is what Narada Muni is now telling to Vyasadeva, right? Remember Krishna in innovative ways. Knowledge is not just going back home, back to Godhead, right? Hearing about Krishna, how to remember Krishna. These are the few important aspects in this. How to offer activities to Krishna, right? If you see the very beginning itself, Srila Prabhupada says, according to Vedic rites, even worship of some demigods like Indra, Brahmā, Sarasvatī, Gaṇeśa, in all circumstances represents Viṣṇu. There must be yajñeśvara. That is, Viṣṇu is compulsory in order to make the function proper, right? So anybody who's got that awareness that finally, who's the supreme enjoyer? Our very famous verse, what Prabhupada calls it a peace formula, Bhoktara Yajna Tapas Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. There, if one understands that the proprietor of everything, right, it's his creation, is Krishna, then all our we will be aligned very well. All our activities will be aligned very well, right? Let's just see a few more aspects of how we can remember Krishna, or how we can offer what we have towards Krishna. Now, interesting. The first line itself, I'm sure many will have a lot of discussion on that. Yes, I am talking to donate, right? That's why the picture has been picked up. And how much Rupa Goswami had made an given us a direction saying 50% of the income should be given out to carry the order of Krishna. Remember here, Prabhupada starts the next paragraph saying the major portion of our monetary income, not less than 50%, must be spent to carry out the order of Krishna. Not only, it doesn't stop there, not only should we give the profit of our earning to this cause, but we must also arrange to preach this cult of devotion to others, because that is one of our orders of God. So I was with some of my business friends. They kept asking, they kept telling, I mean, they were Christian by practice. So they said, I have nothing against, why is that you people come and force us? The Bhagavad-gītā. I said, okay, where it happened? He said, no, at one of the locations. I think it was a traffic. So, and then you said, what were you doing? And did you answer? No, he said, I was busy on the phone. So I told him that a very good friend of ours is very much connected to ISKCON. I said, no, after that, what did you do? No, because he asked me some money, I gave money. I said, that's exactly why we have to do. Otherwise, you people, nobody will do it. And it is not that we are doing it because it is ISKCON has told us, because it's the order of the Lord. We are just following the orders of the Lord. We have to go preach about this, the entire thing. So anyway, I was asking him, how did he feel? He said, because they told me we do so much Annadana and other things, I felt good. So that is why I don't know the particular author, somebody who is not a devotee. He had written long time back that giver, take. I think he had classified the entire people in this world as a giver. That is who always keeps giving. Taker is very famous. We all know. We all want. And then he had something. I think it was a word called settler, right? Something like whatever I receive, I have to give back something. It's like somebody has given me, he will ensure that he goes and gives it back little. Okay. I remember this very funny thing in all the weddings. The moment you give, they write the name, how much you give. I used to ask, why are you all writing the names? So somebody had told me, senior, no, so that we know when we have to go to their wedding, we have to give. I found that very, very funny. So anyway, these are the three categories we have. So, and he remember, again I'm saying, he was not a devotee. He had categorized and he found out that the takers and the settlers were never happy. And when he spoke to the giver, those days only he had said the givers were very happy. So the point we are trying to say is that by giving out your Lakshmi, right, you will actually feel more happy than actually taking. Because, like I said, even a non-devotee has come to this conclusion after interviewing all of them, saying that they were not very happy. Anyway, here the word Lakshmi is very, very important, because I think Varaha Prabhu was mentioning this, that if you don't part with it, it will become Durga. And remember, Lakshmi is always, where does Lakshmi stay? At the feet of Narayana. And if you do not treat the Lakshmi very well, simply leave. Okay. So this is a warning to all the people who think that by doing Lakshmi Puja, Lakshmi is going to, no, clear cut, no. Remember, the first paragraph itself is said, Viṣṇu is compulsory in order to make the function proper. Right. So now going back to, is it difficult? No, it's very simple. This entire process of remembering is very easy. How? So, Lord Chaitanya has taught us a very simple method in this connection. He taught us the lesson for preaching and translate his message through very simple singing, dancing, and refreshment, Prabhupada says, which is prasadam. These were the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What do? Don't we do that? Don't we do Sunday love soul feast in the temple every Sunday? Why? But so many people congregate. We have a same concept, of course, sector feast in the last Sunday. What are we doing? We are parting out with income. Now, I agree, 50% is debatable. I am sure many questions after this class. But at least part with this something. Why do we keep going and asking Lakshmi? I remember Guru Maharaj also saying, and one other sannyasi in one of the very early days, he said this temple is being constructed, and he said, I have this dhoti. I mean, sannyasis have that extra third cloth, right, apart from their kurta and that the dhoti. He said, this is for begging. And he told something which struck me very. He said, I'm giving you a chance now. I said, why is it only now? He said, otherwise, I have 3 friends in Bangalore. He said, 3 or 4 friends. If I call them, they will pick up this opportunity. Okay. That day it struck to me saying that it's not that my money which is going to go because of we issue 1 lakh and we keep telling everywhere very proudly, oh, I gave this money. That when the sannyasi spoke, that if you don't take up this opportunity, someone will grab. That is when I realized it's how important it is to try and be there in all the places. And when I saw all our senior devotees, whenever sannyasis, whenever great personalities come, they grab whatever is in their purse here and there. They somehow, through the children, they give it. I think Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu do it with his wonderful daughter. Through the daughter's hand, they will give it. That's when I understand parting out our income towards, that is the best way. Great devotee. Let's hand this to pure devotee who will use it exactly the way they will preach the cult of devotion to others. That is one of the important ways we can always remember Krishna. Of course, I'm not getting into smaller ways because I love keeping small. Wherever, all the places where I sit to read, I have a beautiful either Radha Krishna or Gandharvika Giridhari. I'm biased towards Giridhari and Radharani here because I find these deities very cute. Of course, thanks to Pune, our Vara Prabhu's sister, they have given a beautiful picture. I just love seeing those deities. So, but just by staring at those deities for a few minutes at least, you'll be thinking of Krishna. You feel so charged up, and then you can start doing whatever you want to do, either work or anything. Okay, then one other point. While doing all this, Prabhupada gives us a very important point. I'm just skipping a few lines. The only condition for successfully executing all this spiritual activity, whatever we are doing, right? Very key point. Please hear this. We have heard this from our leaders many times, but I'm again pointing out, is that such activity, they must be conducted under the guidance of a pure devotee who is free from all mundane desires, fruitive activities, and dry speculations about the nature of the Lord. Right? That's why Prabhupada read, simply accept them in toto. Don't now speculate. I like only, very often we have seen corporates using Bhagavad-gītā shlokas as and when they like it. Okay, it won't be continuous. They just want some of this, from karma, a few selected verses, they pick it up and then include it in between, as though, the whole presentation is based on. No, we don't like to take Bhagavad-gītā or the teaching of the Lord as and when we like it. It is to be accepted in toto and abide by the orders of that. Okay. So again, last few lines, Prabhupada emphasizes that the only condition is that one must give up the habit of dry speculation aimed at becoming one with the Lord. Okay. The last line, it says, if you after giving up lofty puffed up, one may be submissively receive the orders of the Lord in Bhagavad-gītā or Bhagavatam from the lips of a bona fide devotee, which whose qualification is above mentioned, that will make everything successful, right? So just by following these few lines, always remembering Krishna, ways of remembering Krishna, and dovetailing all our activities, make firstly convert it into spiritual activity, whatever we are doing, and dovetailing towards the Supreme Lord, we can definitely make everything successful. Okay, so these were the few points which I could gather from these verses, very important verses. But where are we going next? Narada Muni doesn't stop here. He gives out few important, very private message. He then shares, I've been given a mantra, what it is, how did they make him touch, what did they teach him? You need to wait and hear from our senior devotees tomorrow. Thank you very much for this opportunity today and to share a few lines from this verse. If there is any other points by anybody else, please do share it. And if I made any mistakes, forgive me. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.